Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever edition of Through the Wire with Coach Rez. Alongside me is Jeff. Forgot how to pronounce your name already. Just gonna call you Jeff. And below me
Slide.
for, for the introduction, Coach Resignalo. First episode, Coach. Explain what the show's going to be about, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah, so we'll talk about everything that was happening, from the previous week and what's upcoming, and once the season gets started, obviously. But for now, we'll talk about some things about Wheeling and different things like that. The team, different sponsors, different partnerships that we created in the community. We'll get some of them out in the air and let people know about what we got going on. Obviously, talk about some players. Talk about some players that we've signed, and there's some people out there that a lot of the fan base knows. That as we're signing guys that maybe they were either went to WVU or they play with the Rough Riders. So stuff like that's important, and just pretty much all the ins and outs of what we got going on.
So right off the bat, is it more of a West Virginia vibe than a Marshall vibe, or is we're sticking with West
100%,
Virginia? Sticking with West Virginia. Okay. I don't want
100%.
because I don't want to bring out Marshall stuff and people go after me. I'm already hated by half the country right now. You know why, Coach?
I've had
Um,
I've had my head pretty much chopped off a few times of mentioning West Virginia and Pitt. So I'm naive. I thought West Virginia and Marshall was a big rivalry, and it is in its own right.
mhm.
But it's nothing like WVU and Pitt. I mean, I was like, there's someone about like just cussed me out. I was like, "Are you serious talking about Pitt? We can't stand Pitt. Don't even say that name." And I'm like, okay, sorry."
One thing I do know, it's Sweet Caroline. Eat Pitt.
Yeah. So we were
I
at
do know that.
the
Yep.
tough man competition last weekend, and I totally forgot that they did that with the what you just said. So they played that song, and now mind you, the West Bango is packed. So with all the seats on the floor that was filled for the tough man competition, it's like a rough and rowdy or something like that. There had to been almost 7,000 people. I don't know how many people can be on the floor, but from a football setup, it's 5,400. So if you
Mhm.
added another 1,500 seats, you're pretty close to that. And I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how many could sit on the floor, but when they played that song, I wish I would have recorded it because that was pretty awesome when they when they said that. And it caught me by surprise because I totally forgot that they did that.
So, what is the goal for the Miners this year for attendance? Because there's this Willing has a history for indoor football and a
Yes.
good fan base. So, what's the goal for this version of an organization in Wheeling?
Well, first I'd like to have Jeff mention because he's followed football there in the area for a long time, and it'd be I'd be remiss not to let him kind of give that answer as far as how the history's been with Rough Riders, the Greyhounds, and I'll even mention sometimes the Wildcats in between there. That there's people that live there that forgot about them because that's how long that they were around. Like you didn't even know they were there. And of course, the Greyhounds were the smash before they came the Greyhounds. So, um, how were the attendance with the Greyhounds, Jeff, and how were the Rough Riders attendance?
So attendance was packed. I mean, it was always packed out. You mentioned football in this valley, and everybody comes running. I mean, it's high school football, professional football, anything. They love their football. As you can see, I got my Smash helmet here, my Greyhounds helmet on the other side, and my Rough Riders on the other side. So yeah, I mean, a long lineage of football and winning championships in this valley. So, Coach Rez, you and I have talked about it. You got some big shoes to fill, but we know you can do it.
Absolutely. A lot of the stuff that we're doing with bringing on some of the partners, we're up to 30 community partners now. I mean, it's been great. We're we hit the ground running once I got back here, and um, you know I'm excited. I've brought on four partners so far, community partners, which community for those that don't know, community partnerships are sponsorships. So we get rid of the word sponsorship, so it's all about building relationships with businesses and the community. So we call our sponsorships community partnerships. Um, it we've had about four send in information through our website
Mhm.
requesting to be partners. And I haven't really had that for as long as I've been doing this in sales on the sales side, for businesses reaching out to you to, how do we become a partner and where can we send a check to? That's, that's exciting. That just shows me like the support that they want to give, and we are embarking on something that I feel is one of the main reasons why we chose to come to Wheeling.
So, one question to you, Coach: Is Willie Naylor football affordable family fun?
Wheeling Minor football is 100% affordable. So it's you had some other ticket prices come out recently for some other teams, and our season ticket prices are about the price of some of those single game tickets. Um, so
You don't
we
have to
so
buy crypto either, by the way.
yeah, so from the 55 is our section 300, which really isn't like an upper deck for us. Like it's a 5,000, it's a 5,400 seat venue, but 5,004 seats. We got a couple of VIP areas and suites and stuff that people can be at, and for standing room only and whatnot. But the $90 is it kind of in your middle row, like middle section area, and then your section 100 is like your first few rows that are around the wall. So it's pretty exciting. It's very affordable. I worked with the arena on the ticket pricing. Everywhere you go and teams come in, they just make up stuff sometimes, it seems like, to where they don't even check the market of where they're at. Like if you're in a market that it's a hard nose area, blue collar, which is like Wheeling, they're I don't know exactly the median income. I know it, I just don't know off the top of my head, but uh, it's there's some hardworking people there and people that are working check to check, and they're not going to spend freaking a couple $100 for a season ticket for times four for their
Mhm.
family to go to. That's just they can't afford it. They can barely afford groceries in some instances. So I got with our market and our arena, and we came up with. I asked them. It's my goal to sell out. I want to sell this place out. It can. It's been done. It's happened. It's a football area. It's a football town. So what do we got to do to make that happen? And that's where the ticket prices came from. And some of it have gave us a little grief that it's a little low. I mean, first of all, why would you be upset that it's low? That doesn't make sense. So, I'm a big believer on quantity than I am anything. So from that standpoint, the more people we have, then we're going to make some money. If you have
So,
a
uh,
cheaper
sorry,
ticket,
Coach.
cheaper ticket, but you sell out, you're going to make money versus having a high ticket and you're barely getting people come to the games, and then you're pissed because you don't have many butts in the seats. I can't stand teams that do that because you're not. That's not the point. That's not the purpose.
So, is Willing, Jeff? You'll know this answer. Willing's more of a walk-up city than actual season tickets.
Yeah, they're more of a walk-up city, more of a, "Hey, let's go check it out," kinda thing. But there's a lot of people that will buy, tickets for the entire season, walk up. I mean, they'll go every single time there's a game, and they'll be like, "Okay, I'll just buy." And they'll do that. I don't I don't know why, but it's been like that. It's just the type of city that we are.
And usually, what draws people in are theme nights. Are any theme nights being planned for this season?
Yeah, so we haven't actually announced all the theme nights yet, but that'll be coming out. I think I got that set for coming out either next week or the week after. Because our single game tickets go on March 1st, so our theme
Mhm.
nights are going to be announced before that. Um, just kind of everything's kind of like in an order of a sequence of what we're trying to do. So, um, but our first home game night is education night for us.
Mhm.
It's April 19th, our first home game. So all the schools are still in. So they got some very big school districts in our area. So getting some high schools and middle schools and elementaries and whatnot involved, is important. That's part of the community, and getting the youth involved is a good plan for us as far as trying to build a good fan base, because that brings the parents, and then you just keep your own growing, and teachers and staff and all that stuff. So then our second home game is on May 4th, which is obviously that Star Wars night. So very was it every other year or every 2 years where Saturdays for May 4th is
Mhm.
usually on May 4th, because I haven't had many Star Wars games where Star Wars night was on actual May 4th. Um, so that's pretty exciting about that. Our third home game, May 11th, is our military first responders night, which is always a great night for myself, being a combat veteran Marine. Being a Marine, that's um, one of the first things I tell people of what I do or what we're about. So, um, with everything I got going on, sorry, I looked down at the comment. I'm a little late, but what league is the Miners? And is we're in the AAL, AAL2 or AAL or I'm about building our fan base and our community presence. So if you look at teams like the Columbus Lions, for instance, I think they're in their 15th season or something like that, 16,
17th.
17,
17th.
and they've done the organization itself. They've had some owners come and go, but for the most part, their core is there, and might even be newer owners from when I was there. I was the DC in 2013. And I don't think that there is a owner on that group that is the same from then. But that doesn't necessarily a bad thing because owners come and go when they sell their team and when they do it the right way and the new ownership takes over. And it's just Richard's one of the owners who was an owner with the Carolina Cobras. I hated to see him leave the ownership group from there because he was awesome and he cared about his staff and his players. And matter of fact, he was up in Maine as well, so he was part of the Maine Mammoths. But Casey Smith, he's a grinder. He's been doing this stuff for a long time. So, I mentioned those guys' names because just give them a shout out and whatnot because they do a great job. But the Columbus Lions as an organization, I can't even tell you how many leagues they've been in. It's been a lot. There's been a lot of different change, and it isn't necessarily a bad thing. Again, it's are you counting?
I think 5 leagues I think they've been in.
Yeah, but it's all every move that they've done, they've always and Casey will tell you this, they do what's best for them each year. And that doesn't necessarily mean they got to stay in the same league. They might have to go to a better league for like what they did last year, the league they were in last year. They wanted to get their finances in order. They wanted to build their fan base and do those different things to get stuff back in order because of some of the new owners coming on board. And they wanted to make sure that they were solid to continue what they've been doing through the years and continue building that for year on and year out. And so that's basically what we want to do. So I don't really care what league we're in. I mean, obviously we want to be in the best league possible, but it's about if you're in this business to play football as a business standpoint, you're not going to make it. You're not going to last because it isn't about the football. It's about the business itself. If you concentrate on the business, that's what's going to allow your team to be successful and thrive and last a long time. It's just the way it is. And then you got a good football team at the same time. So business strong, it'll lead to a lot of different things.
Well, good business, if you look at the traditional teams that have actually been very successful in this industry, Jacksonville, Arizona, Iowa, Omaha, Sioux City, Sioux Falls, they started with their community and then got bigger. There's no major conglomerate that's going to come in and save the day and say we're going to do it because it always fails. It's the history of the sport. Now, Jeff, you've been very quiet this episode. What are you doing for this year's team?
So I'll be doing color commentating for the team. Absolutely love the game, love the opportunity to get to do that. I actually broadcast high school games, so know what I'm doing in the booth. I ran the chains for the Rough Riders, and that was fun being on the field, getting to know the guys, did some interviews and stuff. So continue that a little bit with the Miners here. Nice to see some familiar faces come into that Coach Rez has signed, and then seeing some also at the tryouts and stuff like that. So nice to see some familiar faces.
Talk about familiar faces. Coach, who are the big signings that are going to be wearing the West Virginia colors there with William Miners?
I would have to say, for me, he's played for me for 4 years, going on 5 or going on 4, something like that. And he's a WVU grad, and he's familiar from there. There isn't a person I've met yet in town that don't remember Larry Ford playing at WVU. So, and of course, he played with the Rough Riders in 2019. So I think the only reason why he didn't play for me in 2019, every season he's played for me, he's a like an assistant director or something at at a charter school, and he's a head football coach for the football team for their high school. But he flew in for all of our games. I mean, he didn't even go to practice, and there's some players out there that are allowed to do that, and there's some coaches that do that, but there's majority of the coaches that want their guys there. They be at practice, and I get it. That's traditional. That's the way it's supposed to be. But Larry has been successful, and I think the only reason why he didn't play for me in 19 is just because, the head coach, Coach Back, he's not big on that stuff. So he wants them all there, and it's understandable. It's that's the way it's supposed to be. But I think he would have played for me in 19 if we were flying him in. So, but he played for the Rough Riders, so all the fans know who he is, and Larry's a great person overall. We're friends. We've been close through the years, so it's just cool to have him. But of course, and then that quarterback, Grant Russell, is a solid player. Had his opportunity in 2019. After 2019, going into 2020, he was going to come play with me and with the Cobras. And of course, COVID happened, and then there was the talk of the IFL team coming back to Columbus, and which for some reason each year they think it's coming back, and maybe it will at some point. I mean, who knows? But so he wanted to stay close to home because he wanted to play for that team because he lives outside of Columbus, which is understandable. So I respect that, and so having the opportunity to be an hour and a half from him now, and then he had he'll be able to come to practice. He's a middle school teacher, and his principal in his school's working with him to be able to come to practice and come to school late on those days. So it's pretty awesome for that to happen. So having a good quarterback helps.
I was going to say, Russell, from what I remember, when he played for Cleveland, he led the league in passing yards for most of the year. They were, I think, the 1 seed at one point, and they got beat in the playoffs. They got upset by, I don't know, Washington or somebody like. Someone had like 2 wins that year, won the championship, which was hysterical.
Yeah, and I think they were pretty good on offense. I mean, they had great players. Fabian Guerra, he played good then. I don't remember all the guys that they had, but I mean,
I think Devin Wilson was there at that time too.
They were pretty successful. I mean, they put up they just couldn't stop nobody. So they just defensively they couldn't stop nobody. So, but there's some other guys that we got. I got the Harris brothers, Joe Harris and Jordan Harris, both played for me with the Cobras for a few years. So to get some solid offensive linemen is great. Israel Evans goes by Izzy, played for the Rough Riders in 19, won a championship with me in 2018 with the Havoc. So that was pretty cool to talk to him and to get him to come back. He's missed it and misses playing. So he was a fan favorite. Everyone loved Izzy. So reading for Carmela sending in. Appreciate you, man. I know you're grinding and doing what you got to do, and you'll get to where you're trying to go. But I appreciate that. Let's see here. So this is cool. His rookie year in 2011, Andre Portis, defensive end from Marshall. He played for me his rookie year, gave him a shot, made the team, and he was fun to have. But he went on to his career. He went on to play for Sioux Falls. He won 2 or 3 championships with them in the IFL. So obviously, if he was there for multiple years and won a few championships, Riggs, is a great coach. So obviously, if you got the chance to play for him, then obviously you're worth something. So obviously he's a little older now, but he lives in the Cincinnati or Cleveland area, and he's looking forward to come back and play. So he started his career with me, and then he's going to end his career with me. So that's pretty cool.
So is there a fan vote coming up for a contest?
Yeah, so for our dance team. So it's great. It's hold on, let me pull up my notes for that. Because she's gonna kill me if I pronounce her name last night. I've had my last name butchered all my life, so if it happens, I'm sorry. But Cassidy Sansone or Sansoni, one of the two, is our dance director, and I actually got to meet her at the second dance tryouts, which was a weekend ago, and so they do a great job, and I'm excited to see them and get them out in the community and everyone meet them. But the name has been I'd say fun time because you want the fans to choose a name, and the 4 names that were chose from the list are the 4 names of the top 4 votes. Some teams do name the team and they sneak in the names that they wanted to have in there, or they ended up making it the name they wanted. And when you voted for it, no one saw that name that was even on the list. So I wanted to try to make it legit and make it organically named, and we got the names, and it does. I don't think it matters what we're going to name the team. Someone's going to be pissed, and they're going to say something stupid about why do we choose this name. It is
There's
like
always haters.
yeah. So it's like so we're looking at that, and to see. I haven't even looked at the results from the 4. I kind of put it behind me since I was going to this workout I'm at now. This combine, the National Scouting Combine. In Indianapolis. So I'll look at that stuff when I get back. But it's go vote. I mean, it's cool if you're a fan, go out there and vote. You can vote online through social media, really, and pick the name. That's what it's for.
Will you guys be having a mascot this season?
We will be having a mascot. So our next name the mascot will be coming up after once the dance team stuff comes out. That's
You're
another
busy.
exciting thing. We got a lot of stuff going on, and our owners, we got 4 a group. It's a group of 4, and they all have ideas, and we put them together, and I listen because they're the owners, and then I let them know, yes, 100%. There's a list, and I have a process. I'm sure they hate hearing me tell them we got a process for the points that we're hitting, and we're getting there. Like Cassidy, for instance, with our dance team coordinator, she wasn't at the top of the list, but she was on my list of things that I needed to get done. And when I got to her on the list, I reached out to her, and of course I apologized to her for taking so long to get to her. But I've been busy. January was a rocket month for us, so there's still people that don't know who we are, of course. But I'm sure you can go to many teams in the country, and they're not going to know they have an arena football team. There's one thing we tried to fix with that. I mean, our area, once we get out there, like it's going to be, the players are going to have a great time, and they're going to be welcomed by the fans and the community. I mean, we're on 10 radio stations. We'll be on 2 TV stations with commercials. We've got 5 billboards. I mean, if you've ever been in that area, everything's on top of each other. So if you're familiar with your typical Pennsylvania towns, West Virginia, I mean, everything's right there. So, it's going to be great. I mean, I'm excited about the whole experience.
With the team coming in, getting fans, you have to have a coaching staff. Who are your coaches this season?
Yep. So a friend of mine who's actually a local coach there, he is the defensive coordinator for Wheeling University. He's got some IFL experience and played some indoor ball. Primarily, he played a lot overseas, and he coached overseas as well. Mont Gamon, he's a great addition for us. It was very important for me to add local guys that have local ties from a player standpoint, coaching, you name it. So he is phenomenal. He's going to be a head coach in college before long. I mean, he's been at Wheeling for 6 years, going on his 6th season, and he's a stud. And he's very detail oriented, and the players are going to learn a lot from him. So, and then our OC, I brought on Mott's our defensive coordinator, of course, but Leroy Johnson played for me for a few years. He lives in the Pittsburgh area, and great football minds. We're friends. We built a relationship through the years. I got a lot of players that have played for me that I keep in contact with. They keep in contact with me, and that's about building these relationships. And it's great. I have of course I have people that don't like me or didn't like the experience or whatever, but it's you either like it or you don't like it, and there is no in between. But you know what you're getting, and that's all I can give. You know what I mean? So, and then we got a young coach, Max Bradshaw, coaching our O-line, D-line. He coaches with me at the high school I coach at in North Carolina. I just, you try to give players opportunities, but you give coaches opportunities too. And he's a young up and coming coach that's hungry, and he'll do a lot of stuff. And the biggest thing is I trust him, and he's a cool dude. He's a great person, and that's the type of people you want around you. So, and then locally there is another guy who's going to help pretty much on both sides of the ball, and he's helping me in the sales too. His name is Matt Porter. So this guy, we played high school football together in California, and he lives in Wheeling, West Virginia. So he's messaged me. He messaged me when he saw the announcement about the team coming on the news, and he was like, when it came out about with me being the head coach there and all that stuff, he was like, there isn't that many Resignalos that I know that I played high school football with that's crazy. So he hit me and said, "Hey, are you coming to Wheeling?" And I said, "Yep." I said, "I sure am." I said, "Well, you're not too far about that from there," because I thought he lived in Columbus. And he said, "No, I'm in Wheeling." And so, of course, we had to have that connection because we're high school teammates. And um, once you're involved with football, like, you can't let it go. So if you have a chance to get back in it, you're jumping in, both feet, and to see where it goes. But he's got a great family ties there in the area for himself, and he does a lot of stuff with his kids. He's heavily involved with youth sports, and just a great addition to, again, having people that you trust being around, and great people, and those are the people you want to have around. So yeah, I mean, to talk about style, I want to mention too, because it'd be remiss to our sales team, Sarah and Chris Cipriani, Chris Cipriani and Sarah. Um, they've been busting their butt to try to help get this team off the ground, and from a sales standpoint for businesses and community partnerships, and it's just good. We should be in our office about the middle of March, not the middle, but hopefully by March 6th. So I haven't even been operating out of an office. We're going around from business to business, and it's just we're busy. I don't have time to be at the office anyway. So, but our office we'll be in our office March 6th, and we'll add more people to our staff, to our front office, interns getting involved. I have interns on deck waiting to get started. Everyone's hitting me up about what can I do? Is there something I can do? And so it's exciting. It's exciting to we're almost there. We're almost to the point where we're rocking and rolling.
Jeff, you have anything for the coach?
Coach, so we've talked about a lot of the championships and things. What is it going to take for this team to get a championship out of this season?
I would say just the atmosphere that we create all around. The players have be taken care of when they're here. We're in the middle of finalizing our medical deal with Wheeling Hospital, which is a part of WVU Medicine. And their facilities are phenomenal, of everything that they have there for the players to be able to be taken care of, from a treatment or rehab or anything that they need. They're there. Our team chiropractor, Washington Spine, Disc and Joint Center out of Washington, PA. The things that we're providing our players to be taken care of, that players are taken care of, they're gonna do what they got to do for you, and do what they got to do for the team and the organization, and have fun with the fan base. And we're going to play together. So we're going to have some good players too. I couldn't even tell you much about the other teams we're going to play. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're going to win. So, and that's how I am no matter what league I'm in. It doesn't. That's how I am in the NAL for the last 5 out of 7 seasons of the NAL. I've been coaching as a head coach in that league, and you build your rivalries. And one of my favorite people to go against is Coach Manas, who's now in San Antonio, and we get after it. But I can also pick up the phone and call him, and ask him a question, or say something, or check in with him, see how things are. It's important to be able to have people that you can do that for, and he'll be the first to tell you, we got after it at each other, coaching head to head. I mean, it's the passion that we have, and we're competitors, but we're the same ones that we'll hang out with and say hey later on. So it's about building relationships again all across the board. Our players are going to be taken care of, and they're going to want to win. That's why we're going to win, because that's the mentality that we have, is to be winners.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunately, we will go on a little longer as we progress throughout the season, but Coach Rez has a meeting to go to here in about 10-15 minutes. I'm proud. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jim Renier. I operate many podcasts that cover the indoor game. I'm very well have too much knowledge in this industry, honestly. Coach Rez will agree to that. But this show, I'm happy to be here to continue your season. Jeff will be more active on the episode, so we got to get this partnership going. But we're going to have player interviews. I want to get Grant Russell on the show because I respect him, what he did over in Cleveland. If you watch Inside the Walls podcast, ladies and gentlemen, then watch this show. You'll see how the episodes will be formatted from here on out. More interaction with you in the future. We'll have new intros. We'll have outros. The show would get better. We just wanted to get a show out here because season's right around the corner. And if you're not out there in public, no one knows you. So with that, Coach, any last words before we send you to your meeting?
Yeah, and to speak on that, the cool thing of how we have this set up and the way we're doing it, we're I love you too, babe. I couldn't do this without, my family. So that's the main reason why I came back to the minors. That's I was with them, then I left. I was gonna go be the DC in Tucson. And they wanted me to stay and my son, and just I can't go against that. So I told them we'll try to figure it out. I can't promise anything, but obviously I'm back. So we were able to get things taken care of and those type of things. But anyways, the way we got the show set up, we can do it wherever we want, and we're going to have so many partners out there that we can just set up shop in their restaurant. We got a couple of sports bars we're a part of that we'll be a part of. We could really do it wherever we want to do it. We could do it in the arena, with turf down. You could do it on the field. I did a lot of that stuff with our crew in Edwin, Carolina, and that was pretty cool to do stuff like that. So we can do it wherever. So we're not always as you can see, I'm in a hotel room because I'm in Indianapolis at that scouting combine. So it's just we're gonna have fun with it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Jeff, any final words?
I'm super excited for a team to come back to Wheeling. I know a lot of people have asked me a ton of questions, and I've answered what I could. But hopefully, a lot of questions were answered here tonight with the podcast, and then we'll continue to get on top of it. And it's really exciting, Coach Rez. I don't think you realize just yet, but you have a huge fan base behind you, and we're not even started yet. So I mean, it's one of those things that everybody is just glad to be here and glad to be a part of football.
I think Coach Brandon is hijacking the Carolina Cobras.
I give him crap on all of his stuff that he's on, so it's warranted. It's all right. I'm happy for him too. So to get his opportunity, he lives there, and to be honest, the Cobras are really still around because of the stuff that he's done in the community and helping keep that team going, and of course the fan base that they have. Die hard. I mean, I loved it. I love those fans. I still talk to some of them all the time. Some of them check on me. I check back in with them. Um, Especially Stacy there at Sands Club. She is awesome. Her whole family. These are the relationships that we build, and I can't wait to make these new relationships in Wheeling, because I already know that it's going to happen. I've already made some already, and we ain't even started yet. So I'm looking forward to it.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, that's Jeff. That's Coach Rez. I'm Jim. We'll see you next Wednesday, 6 p.m. with a bigger, longer show, more interaction. But Coach got to go to that meeting. We'll be back next week here on Inside the Walls Network and on Wheeling Miners Facebook page. Good night, everyone. Be safe. Be well. We'll see you next week.